And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that lovely Brood War OST as we have returned with the semi-finals of ESL Open Cup Asia number 221. Both semis have begun, and we're diving into a TvP. We've been following a certain Protoss player for most of this tournament, for all of this tournament actually, and we'll see if they can continue their run or if their run ends here and now. Is spawning in the bottom right hand corner of site Delta, we have our South Korean Terran player, the Red Terran representing Team Liquid. It is Cure. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the blue Protoss, representing himself teamless but deserving to be on a team. It is NightMare. Here we go. Again, NightMare, he has some of the best Protoss versus Terran out there in South Korea. And we have seen him bring Cure down in the past, but I would still give the edge to Cure. Cure, he's a beast in his own right. I'm hoping for fireworks. I'm hoping for a back and forth. We saw, at least score-wise, that Cure did or was forced into the ace match against Creator. We'll see if we can get an ace match between these two as well. I'm greedy like that. I would love to see a game 3, but it's not on me. It's up to our players here. As a reminder as well, the upper semis is also underway. I believe it's going to be Dark versus Byun in the upper semifinals. I believe that's being casted by both Wardy and BMO. I believe it's being casted by two other English casters, so they go check over there. Meanwhile, we have exclusivity on the lower semifinals, so we got you covered here. I believe it's ourselves and the Chinese caster covering the lower semifinals, so we got you covered at least on that respect. As we're settling into our game, again, it is an economic opener out of Cure, single gas opener into the CC on the low ground. You can afford to be greedy like this or a little bit more economic focused on a map like Side Delta, just because the ramp leading into the natural, it is a little more defendable in general, so no need to go for a safety CC in the main base or anything of that nature. Just a straight up Rax expand from Cure. As he is trying to hunt down that scouting probe, will not come across it as NightMare has raced back home. Cure will be feeling a little bit safer and secure. Meanwhile, NightMare going for a Robo Opener. Okay, so Robo Opener can lead into a couple of different things. It can lead into fast Colossus. It can lead into a fast fast War Prism with a gateway aggression, or it could just be a very safe opener here out of NightMare to go for a faster Observer into Immortal production. We'll see what NightMare does with this Robo Opener, but again, usually it is a little bit more defendable. It is less aggressive, less in the face of your opponent. Just because you don't have Blink, you don't have Phoenixes, you don't have Oracles, you're stuck at home. As we are building up. Yeah, there we go. Robo into a Twilight Council. Looks like this is going to be leading into, just initially Observers, into an earlier Immortal, into delayed Blink or even delayed Charge. I believe the last time we saw this build, NightMare went for Blink. It was against Bunny, if I recall correctly. Not against Oliveira, but against a Bunny earlier on. Behind this, Cure, not Oliveira, Cure is going to be getting into his own 1-1-1 setup. Early tank production, going for a Marine drop across the map, which is spotted by the Observer. Big scout there by NightMare. Does confirm what's going on. Observer likewise will soon get eyes in the main base to confirm that there is no fast third TC. Does confirm the 1-1-1 build instead, as well as the add-ons on said buildings. So he's aware of the tank production, he's also aware of the Raven production. Medevac has been spotted. NightMare is going to be able to rotate and keep up, as he has enough in position. Have War Stalkers, has an Adept. Does force the pick up. Behind this, NightMare, he is going into Heroics Bay, into Colossus production. We spoke about it, but again, a faster Robo can lead to faster Colossi as well, which is the direction that NightMare is headed in. Again, after seeing the main base, he saw that his opponent wasn't being greedy, so he couldn't get away with something like Dark Templar. We're going for a longer game. At least NightMare is. NightMare's going for a longer game. Cure, meanwhile, has his 3-1-1 setup. Working towards an eBay, working towards upgrades. No major push yet, as we're still waiting for these upgrades to kick in. Stim, +1, combat shields. There's going to be a bit here before Cure can really be too active on the map. And we'll see if NightMare can keep tabs on him and scout any kind of move out as well. NightMare working on his third. Drop into the main base is denied. Extended wellness is on the way. We have our first Colossus working on our second. And the higher the Colossus count becomes, the safer and safer we are. As Curie still trying to find a way in, dropping in towards the natural actually. And does get in. The boys are going to be pulled. It looks like we don't get a probe kill. Flush defense out of NightMare. Oh! We do blink in, and we do not focus on the medevac, just barely does survive, but it's going to be pinned here in the main base. So difficult to escape. As Cure is not going for a 2-base all-in to have the third CC on the way. So yeah, the game is just going to be settling from here. Now, as Cure is taking his third, and as all these upgrades kick in, Cure can be active with his army. And we'll see if he will be. So there we go, he's now moving out. Okay, we have Stim, combat shields, +1 finishing up in a couple of seconds. No observer in the middle of the map, which is concerning. There is no spotter unit. Back at home, we do have a decent Colossus count. We do have a shield battery and an overcharge. But we just now see the army. Ooh, nice disable. Where's the storm? And no storm. We go for the feedback instead. Big disables here on the Colossi. And alas, without Colossi, there's nothing to defend. We stim on forward into the natural base. High Templar goes down. Mine shot's going to be going off. Looks like the tanks are going to be cleaned up, but the Bio Army gets into the mineral line. That's 19. That is 23 probes going down. But we're crippling the economy. We even focus on the Nexus. Oh my god. The amount of DPS, the amount of firepower in that drop was insane. And we're not done. We're headed for the third. Drop into the main base is going to be denied. And the drop of the third likewise gets shut down as well. Good cleanup. But the damage is a bit much. Again, the natural base has fallen. 25 probe kills. What else did we lose? 2 High Templar, the War Prism. That will delay reinforcements. That does delay the counterattack. But we have to. It delays reinforcements, but NightMare, he knows he has to push. He has to move out with everything he has. And denying the third base is nice, but very good force fields. We clean up those SCVs, we clean up the mules. Looks like the command center is going to survive. Is going to be able to float away into the main. But again, this was some nice damage dealt here by NightMare. Baits out the mine shots. Gets the depot. Oof. Does manage to get a depot. Going for a second depot as well. He's trying to. But honestly, NightMare's playing with fire right now. He's playing with fire. Job comes in, gets 4 probe kills. We dive on the army. Prism goes down. The force fields are holding, but we have to get the hell out of here. We go for the recall. Are forced to recall back home. Again, not because of the chaos ensuing back at home, but because we were getting caught out. And again, Cure, he still has such a massive supply lead. Because of the damage he dealt earlier, I say supply lead, a massive economic lead. NightMare, he's still on 44 probes. That's just not good enough. is that just not good enough as we try to go for some Zealot run bys, but Curious keeping up. A good positioning out of NightMare. Taking the best fight he could hope for. But even then, it might still not be enough. Have a Zealot run by here hitting the third base, but it's only a handful of Zealots. Army blinking on forward. Into a defensive line. And NightMare, he's just going for one last ditch effort here. It's all he has. It's all he can do. Bleeds out his Colossi. Two of them go down. We're hunting down the third. And we just don't really have a standing army. And NightMare is being completely cleaned up. That initial push from Cure, that dive into the natural, killing all those workers. And that did end the game. Well, that did give Cure just such a massive lead. And he never let go. You have a reinforcing disruptor, never gets off. Splits it too good. That was the only Nova. That was the only disruptor, and that means there's nothing holding Cure back. Force fields are looking pretty good. Force fields are honestly quite necessary here. They're steaming on forward. A second disruptor has arrived. Oh. Good connection. It's a good connection, but it doesn't even matter. We're just steaming on forward. We're snowballing out of control. GG gets called. It just becomes a little bit too much, and Cure will take a lead in the semifinals 1-0. GG. Again, a very crisp and clean attack there from Cure early on to go for that push to strike NightMare where it hurt most there early on. Again, unfortunately, he was out of position. He was not protecting that natural base. He was unable to stop that insane amount of damage from being dealt. And NightMare getting caught off guard a little bit. And with that, Cure takes a lead. Does take a lead. Now we're getting ready for game number 2. Getting ready for game 2 is going to be on Ghost River. Oh my, we've seen quite a bit of Ghost River so far. Again, short resistance by ground, but there's a lot of points of elevation. There's a lot of ramps that you can make use of. I'm curious what our players have in store for us and how we do mix things up. Again, I'm concerned for NightMare just because if Cure does have some more aggressive openers and aggressive builds, I mean, we saw he looks terrifying. Looks scary, but we'll see, as it looks like our players, they need a moment. Yeah, it looks like they do need a moment here to set things up before diving into game number 2. Again, I hope everyone in the chat has been enjoying themselves. I do apologize for missing out on ESL Asia last week, but we'll make sure to keep it regular and consistent here on the CranKy Ducklings. Doing my best. Doing my best. I mentioned before that I'm still under the weather. I'm still, unfortunately, unwell. Because of that, we're trying to take it a little bit easier on the casting. Usually, I would cast 2 events tonight. I would cast ESL Asia, and I would cast ESL Asia and Stars War 11, the Korea qualifiers, but unfortunately, they're clashing, but I mean, we would just do one and then the other. But I don't think I'm up for back-to-back casts right now. I don't think I'm quite there right now, unfortunately. I usually am. I'm all for just non-stop casting, but not today. Not today, as we're getting into game number 2. Let's go. Let's go. And spawning in the top right hand corner of Ghost River, we have our South Korean Terran player representing Team Liquid, leading the series 1-0. Onomas, one more is all he needs to advance on into the grand finals. It is Cure. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss, the blue Protoss player, sending himself down to the series, looking to bounce back here and now. He needs, so he has to force that ace match. It is NightMare. I want to believe that we can keep the dream alive. Do want to believe. As we do see Cure forcing back that probe. Ooh, as Cure, he's mixing it up. Okay, so in the last game, it was a Rax Expand Economic Opener. This time on Ghost River, Double Gas. Double Gas Opener instead. This is going to lead into a faster factory, into a delayed CC. There are some one-base all-in variations that you can go for from here, which we have seen players like Gumiho do in the past, but I don't believe that Cure is that kind of player. I don't think he's one to one-base all-in, so it should just be a Rax into factory, into expansion. Should be. Behind this, NightMare settling into his own opener. Gate Cybercore into expansion. Everything as it should be. Probe being a nuisance. Scouting in the main base. Even delaying the depot. Oh my god. NightMare. He's a menace. Is a nightmare. We'll pull back. He's going to pull back with that probe. Once again, did make a Zealot first. We spoke about this in the previous series, how with the Zealot first, you can punish the CC on the low ground. You can apply a lot of pressure. He hides on the Reaper, does avoid it. Reaper moves out. Zealot likewise moves in. And the Stalker comes out just in time as well. Again, it was the Cybercore before Expand. Zealot gets across the map, but bunker's on the way. Again, we need that bunker to be able to hold on, especially with that Stalker going to be reinforcing. We had to have a second Stalker as well. Quite a lot available here for NightMare. And can he delay the bunker? It looks like, oh, he will. Gets a kill. Gets one SCV. Going for another at the same time. Reaper dips in, is going to be forced out. We have our tech of choice. Going to be a Twilight Council here out of NightMare. Bear in mind, it was a delayed Twilight Council, and this Cyclone is going to be able to punish this. Is going to be able to chase this all the way down. Oof. Stalker gets killed. An expensive loss there for NightMare. And now he's getting into his Twilight Council. Again, because of that earlier Stalker aggression, his Twilight Council is delayed. Things are looking better here for Cure. As he is trying to force his way in, but good target firing here out of NightMare. Does get the Cyclone, does force it back. Instead, Cure going for a split push. There's an army towards the south and an army getting into the main. I mean, I say army, a handful of units, and looks like NightMare is going to be able to hold on. Wouldn't mind as well thing in. Up. Doesn't quite connect. Do get out of range. Mind Joe gets baited out. Bit of mine goes down. Behind this, the command center is finally being taken. We're throwing down two more Raxes. That is after the starport. So it looks like Curie is just going for a longer game. Doesn't look like he's building up towards any earlier rush or earlier push. Here we go. We do jump into the main, or do dive into the main. We get to get eyes on the Twilight Council and the researching Blink. Not much else though from Cure. The base is being taken, so it's just going to be an economic opener here. Just 2-gate blink, or now 3-gate blink into the third. So again, we're just having a much more passive early game after the Stalker aggression. Working towards that mid game instead. You can see NightMare as he takes his third base. Now we have our Bay on the way. It was a little bit later than we saw previously. In game 1. Just get ready for Colossus production. Working towards charge, and basically until then, it does feel like Cure has the reins here. He can kind of go for whatever he wants. I'm waiting to see if he's throwing down a third base. That's like what I'm waiting for here for Cure. Do we throw down a third, or do we pull the boys? Stalkers have arrived, dropping into the main. We could even try to go for Stim. That big tank volley is going to be going off. We will defend at the same time. Orders are harassing at the natural, getting some probe kills. To manage to get a couple of those probes. Prism once again denied access into the natural. And both players are just posturing. We do find a way in. We slip away in between the natural and the main. Getting 2 extra probes. But we have our answer. There it is. Third CC is on the way. So we're not pulling the boys. We are going to be expanding. Prism is going to be recalled back home. And a Cure finally breaks free from his contain. Now, throughout all of this, NightMare has been able to take an economic lead, which is nice, but also very necessary given the game state. Cure is pushing. What is our army looking like? Oh, we have 1 Colossus. Oh, do we have Disable? We do not. Server is barely saved. We collapse on the tanks. Tanks are on siege. Yeah, Curie gets caught with his pants down. The tanks are going to be falling. Very nice catch here from the Protoss. We get both tanks, and it looks like we can maybe even, yeah, get the Marauders as well. A very efficient trade. You can see here that was 10 Zealots, 2 Stalkers, and 1 Prism. Orders Harass comes in. Got that Mine Drop. Not getting much done. The mines are shut down. As now that NightMare has dealt with the main army, we're able to break free, and the turns have been stabled. Now NightMare can push and threaten that third. Cure, meanwhile, looks like he can take a fight here at the third base. At the same time, going for a drop, gets caught out. A very nice pickup. And I don't see NightMare actually committing and pushing into this base. Not into the Sim City, not into the tanks, not into the army. Just rotating around, hoping to catch any kind of stray command center or stray units. Likewise, as NightMare is vying for map control, is expanding, taking another base. Raise him into the natural. So let's get a couple of zealots. So let's manage to get 5 SCVs in the main. Pretty good damage from NightMare. Ooh, it does feel like this army is a little bit delayed. Because he now here working on the army, working on eventually 2-2. Also possible here that Cure was not fully aware that the game would go on this long, so wasn't quite ready for that. Now it's finishing up. And yeah, we've had just more of a passive couple of minutes here, where players are vying for map control, but no one is going for any kind of major fight. No one can. If anyone does, I feel like the attacker is going to lose. And we've built up quite a number of disruptors here. That's a lot of balls, Bobby. 4 disruptors so far, soon to be 6. Soon to be 6 as a Zealot run by is going to be coming in from behind. Does hit the third base, does force Cure all the way back home. The disruptors, no! Never go off. Big connections. Oh, very big connections, and just like that, NightMare, he catches Cure out of position, by the way. This is not a good fight here for Cure. He gets caught out, caught with his pants down. Novas go off, and you can see Cure plummet in supplies, force to pull the boy. Zelta came in from behind. And 10 SCV kills. And NightMare, he can keep pushing. We saw they give it a more passive game state. As NightMare is able to and allowed to get into the mid game, he's able to just flex that here. Nova's going to be going off once again. This time we are paying attention. This time we are able to split. But GG gets caught. Yeah, the writing is on the wall. Just too much of a deficit. And NightMare, he fights back, tying up the series 1-1. GG. Whew. Again, just really good trades, really good fights here for NightMare. Able to even have a lucky moment when he caught the army in the center of the map. Again, that could have gone either way. You know, that could have been the disruptors getting caught out and every disruptor goes down, or the reverse where we catch all those tanks, we catch some, yeah, just a really strong moment there for NightMare. And with that, we're going to the ace match. With that, we're going to game number 3. Sí, el chat. Así, Emanuel. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Emanuel and Marta. Take care, Light. I will take care. I will take care, Papi. Taking care. Doing my best. Hello, Light. Hello, chat. Hello, Heats. Hello. Tesla Heatsy. Bienvenidos. Welcome here to the ace match of our semifinals of ESL Open Cup Asia 221. This is it. It all comes down to this final game to determine who makes it into the grand finals. We've made it to the ace. That's all that I wanted. From here, it's all down to our players. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have our South Korean Terran, the Red Terran, representing Team Liquid. It is Killer. And where are we headed? As spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, my eyes are on the SCV, though, representing himself, currently teamless, but clawing his way back into this as we're going for a proxy racks. It is NightMare. Now this should just be Proxy Reaper. As we saw in game 1, this should just be Proxy Reaper with the SV headed towards the natural base to throw down a bunker as well. There's a wild kind of game state out there where we try to float into the main base and go for Proxy Marauder in the main of NightMare. But I don't believe that Cure is that spicy. We have seen him go Proxy Marauder in the past. He's quite fond of it. But in the main, that's just one step crazier. Thank God. As there it is, Reapers are in production. NightMare, he does get eyes on that SCV. Was that enough of a tell, though? There we go, we do have the eBay block. Oh my God, we have the eBay block at the natural, and we're going for the unnatural natural instead. A very bold move here by NightMare. This is out of fashion, by the way. This is fallen off. But my apologies. Okay. So, this eBay block forcing the unnatural natural has fallen out of favor these past couple of months. Protoss players have gotten so much better at just pulling the boys and denying this eBay and just going for a later expansion as one probe goes down. But a big reason why it was unviable to go for the unnatural natural to expand elsewhere was because of the Cyclone. But the Cyclone has been changed. The Cyclone has been nerfed in a lot of different ways, and because of that, Cyclone follow-ups are not as common because that this base is actually safer. I should say that this base is safer than a week ago for NightMare on the previous patch. So very interesting. As we have indeed floated into the main base. Wait, do we have eyes on this? We don't! No shot. No shot here as we're making Reapers in the main base. Oh, I mean, may as well just throw it on a tech lab and go Marauders, right? Like, may as well just send it. If we're clanning it up. But the Reaper is on the way. To have our tech of choice, it's going to be a Twilight Council here as a part of the main cluster of buildings in the main. Reaper going to be wreaking havoc. We get one probe kill. Oh, we do get a surround though. Don't think that was quite ideal there for Cure.
Under attack.
But he is able to just slow down any kind of cleanup here. Delay the expansions. Again, just make things a little bit more awkward. Behind the CC's on the way, we have two more Vaxes as well. You're building up towards eventually drop play. Eventually. There it is. Natural is now finally being taken for Cure. It was delayed. It was delayed. Now being taken, getting into our 3-rack setup. NightMare is going to be the first to move out, but again, I do believe he's just looking to contain his opponents. Maybe get on top of that bunker. Oh, not quite going to be going up. NightMare does pull back. Looks like he's going to be waiting for Blink to kick in before he can start engaging with the Winter Mines. You can see Cure trying to bait the army to follow him. Behind this, we have Cloak on the way for Banshees. Interesting choice here out of Cure. A very interesting choice. Protection has arrived. Oh, we don't have a tank, by the way. Uh-oh. No tank, but no reinforcements either. And Cure, he is a bit lucky there. Observer does confirm the researching tech lab. Speaking of, we could even dive into the main. Drop is denied. Speaking of, we do go for the dive. Can we deny Cloak? Can we go for the Banshee? There we go. The Banshee's going to get targeted. It does get sniped. Meanwhile, forget about Cloak. Can we deny Stim? If we only had more Stalkers, if only we had an extra warp in. 2 Stalkers go down. Cloak is going to finish. Again, it was only a 2-gate opener here into a bay, into Colossi, so NightMare couldn't be as assertive. But pretty good damage done nonetheless. Getting a Banshee. Did we finish Cloak? We did. Cloak was completed. We do have 1 Banshee moving out towards the south. Raven's on the way as we are a little bit supply blocked. So we are moving towards the south. And again, the game is going to be settling a little bit from here. Now, when it comes to the game state, we're in a really weird position just because NightMare was forced to expand elsewhere, but now he's taking his third base as we speak. Meanwhile, Cure has yet to expand. His own third is halfway done, yes, but is still stuck on 2 bases. Is thankfully, though, working towards a third. Benji slips into the main. So you have that drop here towards the natural. Benji is going to be focused down. Does survive, but is going to be pinned here in the main. Likewise, Cyclone drop is deterred as well. It's going to be forced back. Third base is not being taken. It's spotted. And I assume that we would just be selling into a 3-base economy. And we kind of are, true, but NightMare is spicing it up here. Going for a Dark Shrine. Going for some DTs. Bold move out of NightMare. Likewise, he's also hitting critical mass of Colossi. We have reached 3 Colossi. From here, this means that we can start Disruptor production. And I would love to see more Disruptors here from NightMare because we have seen him really flex his control and achieve quite a lot with Disruptors. Before that can happen, Cure is moving out, and the armies, they do miss each other. Oh. Zealot does spot the move out. Some good vision out of NightMare. Cure turns back around, a little bit paranoid about a Zealot counterattack. Do we have Disable? We do not. Raven does not have Interference Matrix. Army is being stimmed back. That is a lot of Marauders. We have to respect it. NightMare going to be backing off. So it looks like NightMare is just trying to keep the attention of Cure on the main army while he does go for some DT harass. What's here at the third? No turret in the third in the main base. There is a turret here at the natural. I mean, we have a Raven. We do have a Raven with the main army as well. As we are going straight for the main, actually. Again, bold move here out of NightMare. Going straight for the main base. Gets 4 SCV kills before being shut down. Getting a 5th SCV here at the natural. Getting a 6th worker as well. Oh my god. Almost 7th. 6 worker kills. The Prism goes down. I'm not so certain that was quite worth it for NightMare. That was a pretty big investment for 6 worker kills. Not worth it. Not yet, at least. As you can also go, he can always go for some more DT harass. Was we sniped the Raven. 2 Vikings as well. Good pickups by NightMare. Again, this is what I spoke about, is that at least from what we've seen, NightMare, he's just such a fast player, and again, whenever he sees an opportunity, he will dive on it. NightMare pushing in once again. How many tanks? 2 tanks are in position. Never goes off. It grazes the army, but we bleed out a Disruptor. Ooh, expensive loss there for NightMare. It's going to be an expensive loss. How many Disruptors? 4. Get down to 4 Disruptors. Cure now on his own 4-base setup, working on a 5th. On a 5th base is NightMare. I mean, both armies are maxing out. NightMare is ready for his Zealot run by towards the left-hand side. Oh, but there are some units in position. Again, breaking this 4-base setup, it's not going to be easy. Honestly, I would love to see NightMare as he takes the 5th. I would love to see him just throw down a Fleet Beacon and start working towards Skytoss. Speaking of, there's a second Stargate. Skytoss is on the horizon. And Blinks on forward. Nova's going to be going off, forcing back the army. Another bad connection. We have 3 more Novas left. Down to 2. Down to 1. There it is. Our shot goes off, but it was a little bit too late. We get on top of the army. 2 disruptors go down. Good pickoffs there out of Cure. And as NightMare retreats, where is that fleet beacon? The Stargate does help. It's working towards SkyToss. Also, my apologies. That's the first Stargate. And now we're throwing down a second and a third. And soon I imagine that fleet beacon. So the runway comes in. And a little bit wasteful. Doesn't quite get too much. As the armies do clash. +1 air attack on the way. And more disruptors are amassing. Curie's holding his own. Now, as NightMare's working towards SkyToss, we need Sky Terran. And there it is. Fusion cores on the way. This is something that Oliveira was lacking, if you remember. Oliveira was always quite lax when it came to transitioning into Liberators and heavier Viking count. So Cure, he recognizes what's going on and he's working towards it. And we're in for a long one. Strap in, Bobby. Strap in. We get more CCs are on the way. You can see that NightMare really wants to deny some of these bases, and I don't blame him, right? You see a planetary on the way, you want to try and shut it down. But NightMare has to back off. He cannot touch this. Cannot touch this army or this position. We're just pulling back. Going for a split push, okay. Disruptors are sticking around. +1 air attack is finishing up. There it is. We have advanced ballistics on the way. We have cloak for ghosts, +2 ship weapons, additional starports. Oh boy. It is going to be a tough one to call. It is going to come down to the engagements and to the banks. How large our resource bank is. Yeah, let's go off. Golden base is under fire. We do see Cure rotating over towards the south, catching some of the close side. Big EMPs! Massive EMPs there from Cure. Gets one, gets a second Colossus as well. You can see NightMare plummet a bit in supply. But he's replacing that with carriers. As we dive on forward, we get another carrier. So another Colossus. We deny the set to the southern base. NightMare trying to bring everything together, but again, his army composition is a little bit lackluster. It's mainly a gateway-based army with a handful of disruptors and soon to be a handful of carriers, but we need more than that. There we go. Cure finally taking another base. Taking one of NightMare's, at least trying to. Let's go though. They go off. One connects. The ghosts are called out. A bit of miscontrol at a Cure. Ooh, that's 4 ghosts for free. Big pick off. And a miss rally there from Cure. Throws away a good chunk of ghosts. Again, that was not intentional. Behind this, we're getting into more Liberators, more ghost production. Rebuilding what we lost. Working towards those end game upgrades. Mia still frames, has like auto tracking. We do dive on top of Liberators. We get 1, we get 2. 3 libs go down. See NightMare trying to find another way in. Unable to. is unable to find a way in, but he does take both center bases. This is pretty huge. Okay, so NightMare, he takes center right and center left. He is getting into Skytail. Scan does reveal that. Now we know we already have +3 ship weapons on the way. We're already getting into mass Sky Terran with Vikings and Libs. So Cure's aware of what's going on, but he's still lacking that base count. Liberators send back the army. Nova does miss. Oof. Again, you can see the freedom has arrived and liberation zones do bleed back some of the army, but we overextend. We have to fight within the freedom. So Cure overextending. Going for a drop, getting a base. Big pickoff. He gets one and he's going for the other. I was feeling concerned for Cure because we were double expanding, but Cure, he does deny both Nexi. And NightMare, he has to counterattack. He's going for the planetary. Cure out of position. But he gets back just in time. Cure, he kills 2 bases and he saves his own. NightMare, he's hurting. He's in a lot of trouble. He needed at least one of those bases, and he got neither. NightMare pulling back, getting more carriers out. Essentially, when you get this high amount of liberation zones and liberators, the Protoss does need Tempers. Tempers are going to be necessary. Tempers are going to be necessary to lay siege upon the siege-based units of Cure. It would be carrier Tempers with a nice amount of Archon Storm Stalker to help support on the ground. It was a big scan. DTs, they get caught out. We even have a nuke here towards the center, and we barely have any mining. We barely have any mining. The nuke looks like it will connect, but there's not much to kill. But we find bottom left. Yeah, the most important mining base here for NightMare is going to be denied. At the same time, we're pushing forward into these planetaries. Liberation zones have been thrown down. And you can see there's too much freedom. There's too much freedom. We cannot push in. We cannot push in. Our Templar put out. Good trade here by Cure. You see NightMare trying to force the issue here on top of that planetary. Liberators are late to siege. And Liberators are being targeted down one after the other. Good pickoffs. The Liberator count gets reset. Army pulls back. Now what's scary though is that wasn't a free trade. NightMare did bleed out a lot of Stalkers and he doesn't have a bank to work with, as we mentioned earlier. He's going for the planetary. We'll get it. Planetary goes down. The Zone nuke is on the way. Oh, got the nuke! No! Oh my god, I was gonna say we were trying to focus it down. It does barely graze the army. That could have been so much worse. Oh my god. Nuke doesn't quite connect. 14 SCVs go down. Jesus, but so many of these Stalkers got so low. That was the wrong moment for me to blow my nose. As I was certain that that nuke would be denied. In a very clutch moment. And we're pushing forward and getting the planetary. Getting the CC. Oh, big Nova connects. Big Nova does connect. DT counterattack. Not quite getting the planetary. But NightMare gets 2 orbitals and he does expand behind this. He does have a mining base. Oh, but the Disruptors, no! Disruptors, they are caught out. One big Nova connects on Marines more than anything. Well worth of a cure. Getting 12 Disruptors so far in total. That was like, what, a good 5, maybe 6 Disruptors. Very nice catch from Cure. Carriers are coming back. Vikings are rotating over as well. Again, I still want to favor Cure's overall army composition, just because we don't have any Tempest. But we'll see if a NightMare can still make this work. He can do so if he's able to outposition the Terran. With a good Purification Nova, with a good Blink. We can still make this work. We can still pull this off. Again, the dance does continue. Both players maxed out. We do catch a carrier. Carrier goes down. A lot of Stalkers as well. Oh my god, that was a meat grinder. Stalkers do fall. Yeah, and we're just cutting the army off from the mining base. Yeah, Liberation Zones are set up and Curie comes in with a hit squad, gets the Nexus. Speaking of, DT hit squad is moving out as well. So is the main army. Again, that is all we need to do. As Dark Templar, they catch some ghosts. Nice CMP here on the Stalkers. As we come across another base and NightMare, he's running out of steam. Running out of economy. Ghosts. They're getting on top of some of the production, but they're getting cleaned up. They are getting shut down. But NightMare, again, he's not taking this line down. He saves his Northern Nexus just barely somehow. Likewise, no turrets, no planetary. These carriers are going ham. Vikings wouldn't chase us down as well. Oh. The carriers, they get 19 SCV kills. Very nicely done. But do we have a recall? We need it. Ooh, and we recall just in time. All the carriers are saved. NightMare, he wants that orbital. Is he too late though? Oh. I think he gets it. Yeah, a couple more volleys and the orbital is going to be going down. It does burn. Likewise, Cure expanding in the center base. NightMare expanding towards the south. Both players taking their own bases. But this center base from Cure is still pretty fresh. A lot of minerals to work with. I can't say the same here for NightMare, as he's out of money in the center base himself. Sitting on forward. You're looking to trade. Carriers once again skirting around the edge of the map, going straight for the kill. Didn't we just recall? Oh. We did just recall. Recall is on cooldown, by the way. Bold move here out of NightMare. Won't be able to recall those carriers. Zombies are moving out. Kira does that position. Yeah, throws down the liberation zones. NightMare cannot push in. From here, we can just go for the center base. Not the most important base, but we can go for it. Kira going to be retreating. He's going to be retreating here. That's a lot of DTs. That's a lot of Dark Templar. NightMare, can he somehow pull this off? Okay, so Curie is going to be denying the most important mining base here for NightMare. Likewise, NightMare going for the Northern Planetary. Oh, DTs are called out. Liberation zones, they do connect. Ooh, DT's a trade with Kier's army. That is a kill on that planetary. Meanwhile, though, Cure, he's expanding here, picking up his natural base, landing it as his, what is that, 2, 4, 6, 7th, 8th? 7th base? Math. Now, what is scary is that we don't really have that many carriers, so if we... Oh, never goes off. But if we invest into too many Vikings, then that will hurt us. But as we can see, thankfully, Curie is not neglecting his Marauders or Marines. And as they connect, they take down the Planetary. The army is looking a bit pinned. We're going for it. Army supplies are pretty similar to each other. Cure missing some macro cycles. Both players are. And we catch the carriers to go. Well, we get 2. 2 carriers go down. And NightMare, he's in a really awkward position here. Deep in enemy territory. Oh, but will he bounce? He will be able to rotate back around. Out positions Cure, gets a couple of libs. Gets a couple of liberation zones. The Vikings, they're trying to hunt down. They're looking for the carriers, by the way. Looking for the carriers. DTs, they come in. They do get a kill. They get the Planetary. NightMare is coming in. Somehow, some way, NightMare, he's still in this. Is he though? We snipe another base. Liberators are falling. We get 2 Liberators for free. We back the hell off. The natural is gone. The 3rd base, the 4th base, the 5th base as well. We're down to 1 orbital here for Cure. The main base is floating over. Cure supply blocked. Cure barely has, or he has 1 base economy. NightMare is expanding towards the center. He's taking more bases. Oh. Has to be careful though. Has to respect this army. Once again though, I am concerned that we have too much supply in those Vikings. Mana. As NightMare is going to be rotating around. He could try to collapse on this small army. Gets a medevac, gets 2 medevacs. NightMare, he's been picking Cure apart. I mean, Cure, he's still up in supply, and it's because of these bases. Now he has his bases back up and running. It was going to be going up. Quite connecting. But now that Cure has an economy, he's able to build up and max out. Speaking of, he's just slowly building up this Marine Marauder force. Yes, NightMare has his own bases, but he needs more time. He needs more time to get them up and running. We get the last lib. Liberator goes down. Should emphasize that was the last Liberator on the left-hand side. Meanwhile, Cure trying to collapse on this. Liberators are exposed. So are the Disruptors. Ooh, that is 3 Disruptors going down. This could just be too much. We collapse on the army. Yeah, Vikings going ham. Every carrier falls. NightMare. He was doing a good job, like, with these guerrilla tactics, picking off 1 unit at a time, but here in the main fight, everything goes down. Every single Disruptor, every single carrier. The dream was almost alive there. As NightMare, he has taken all these bases, but again, he needed a little bit more time to actually get them up and running. NightMare going for a counterattack, but Cure, it does feel like he has sealed it here. He finds the last mining base of NightMare. NightMare trying to counterattack. But Q is paying attention. Is paying attention here, and Cure, as long as he doesn't make a big mistake, as long as he doesn't take a Nova to the face, or he can't take as long as he doesn't take 3 Novas to the face, he should be fine. Should be okay. Stimming on forward, a little bit overstimmed. Nova doesn't connect. And this is the last stand. This is the final army here of NightMare. He's run out of steam, run out of units, nothing left. And with that, Cure has done it. GG gets called. Cure takes the series at 2-1, advancing on to the grand finals. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Cure. Again, he found himself in a very strong, very dominant position in that game. It almost slipped through his fingers. NightMare was being very active, but as is even being pointed out on the chat, it was interesting that we saw that NightMare never went into Tempest. What that means is that he never went into this kind of robust main army where he could like dance and trade. Instead, he was focusing on these hidden run tactics with his Mass Blink Stalker Disruptor, trying to outposition his opponent. Alas, in the end, could not. Had a couple of nice moments here and there, but in the end, Cure did take it. Congratulations, and with that, we have our first finalist. We have our first finalist, and who will face off against Cure in those grand finals? We're here to find out. Exclamation mark B. Exclamation mark B in the chat here.